Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, 1 second. Do you usually share the whole screen?
Whatever you want, whatever is best for you.
Okay, yeah. Let me know if everyone can see my screen.
Yes, of course.
Yes, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone. How are you? I'm very excited to be here today. As Ilya said, I am not talking from Greece. I am talking from Canada. It is my pleasure to be here and share my presentation with you guys. So again, my name is Nathalia Silva. I am a Google Developer Group Lead here in Canada, and as well I'm a Uma Tech Makers Ambassador in Toronto. And today we are going to be talking about the power of your personal brand. And the reason why I decided to start speaking about these, how you can better yourself, better your presence online, is that I realized that it's very important, even more now with quarantine, that everything is online. So it is very important that you have your online presence, and even more important, it's very crucial that you understand your virtual presence, because many people, they are not aware of their presence and how they are looking online. And that's one of the topics that we are also going to be talking about today. So with that, I want to open my presentation with two quotes that I really like. And the first one says that 80% of jobs are not on job boards. And this quote is from Forbes 2017. And my second quote is, out of Glassdoor users who interviewed at Apple, only 55% of them applied online. And this is a quote from last year, and it was given by Glassdoor itself. And then you might think, if you go back to the Forbes quote and think, how is it possible? How is it possible that 80% of the jobs are not posted? And Apple, for example, 55% of the new hires applied online. So how is it possible that people do not have, they don't need to apply, or they even the jobs are not out there? So how is it possible that people still get hired every day? And it is really something to think. It sounds mysterious, but it's not mysterious at all. And the reason why this is possible is due to referrals, and as well network, and most importantly, brand. So that's why I decided to talk about brand. I realized that it is a very important aspect on job hunting that most people don't realize. And before talking about the importance of brand, I want to step back and really define what personal brand is. And I really like this quote, and it says, personal brand is the process of developing a strategy and actions to guide your presence or reputation. So if you think about brand as a whole, what is branding? Why we talk about personal brand so much lately? Personal brand, it is simply the practice of marketing yourself as a brand. So you get people and they become their own brand. And you can think that you don't need to think about your brand, you think how you are passing your values and your personality to other people, but it really is a case of whether you like or not, everybody has a personal brand. Even more in this digital age, if you quarantine, the most thing really turned online, your brand is there 24 hours. And if you want to think more positive about your brand, you just can think that your brand works for you 24 hours per day. Even when you're not talking about yourself, if you have a stronger personal brand, you are just talking about yourself 24 hours, mostly online, or when you have a profile online or your website. And now that we talked about what personal brand is, I want to highlight why this is important. And it is important because it all matters. Personal brand, it is a strategy meant to create awareness about yourself, or even about a value that you carry for yourself. And personal brand is very important about trust. It's important when you already have your reputation, you have your brand. You don't need to prove yourself all the time. It's there, it's built. And as well, when you have a strong personal brand, you get in a situation that perception about yourself is just being raised and just get better and get stronger. And I think that another very important point about personal brand is that it really helps you to get the first impression before meeting up someone. I know I wrote in person, but now if everything going online, your personal brand, it really can be the first impression even before you meet someone online as well. And since this is a tech talk today, so I made all the associations of all these points that I have here with, I guess, the most popular tools in tech. So when you think about personal branding and creating awareness, really think about GitHub and how when you put your code, people can see how you write, and I guess even like the language that you're rather working with. So GitHub is really important. It's really important when you are trying to create your awareness as well about your technical background. Regarding build trust, I really see Medium as a good platform for trust. You really talk about either a subject that you really like or a subject that you have expertise on. So Medium is really key. And LinkedIn, it is nowadays very huge in reputation. You can put your resume there, you can put your projects, you can link everything that you have done before or at the moment on LinkedIn. About perception, I really recommend Twitter. Twitter, it is very famous in tech, and I feel most people in tech use this platform. But most importantly, Twitter is a way for you to talk about your values, and I guess as well not only professional things. So it's good to raise perception about your values. And lastly, LinkedIn, it's key when you want to make a first impression before meeting someone. And think about the why. I want to also highlight the benefits of having a strong personal brand. Personal brand, it is very important when you think about career advancement, when you think of taking the next step. You don't need to apply, as we saw in the code. So really having a brand strong, so it just works for yourself. It helps you stand out from the crowd. And lastly, helps you as well to share your values with everybody else. And now that we talked about the what, and we really understand why personal brand is important, I want to highlight the 4 pillars of branding. And when you stop and think about branding, and I know that it can sound scary, so that's why I broke down in 4 main pillars of branding. So firstly, think about who you are and think about what your brand identification is, and really think about your persona. And the second pillar is more about what are you, and I mean the meaning that you want to pass, response you want for the impact that you want to cause in people. And then you can think as the third pillar for what about you, what is the response, what you want to back with all the efforts that you put in your brand. And lastly, think about the whole world as a community and really think about the fourth pillar of brand being the brand relationship. And I know that many people don't have this figured out, but it's really something to think about it. And when you have these four pillars line up and really know what your persona is, what is the meaning of the brand of you, and what is the response you want with it, and what is the relationship that you want to create with your brand, you really have ally. So I know it's not a simple task. Many people do not know what they want to back when they work with the brand, but really realizing what you want and what you want to do with your life, it is a very good ally when you're creating a brand. And if you were to break it down even more, you think about your persona, think about your values, think about your passions, think about things that really motivate you to get out of bed every day, and really think about who are you, what are the main keywords that can define yourself. And then with that, you can move it to your promise, like what about you? Think about your skills and your uniqueness, and really think, what can I do with the skills I have? And then the third step would be more about your story, and really think about your journey and your history. What about you? It's really like your elevator pitch, that 30 seconds of you get your persona and your skills and put it all together in a timeline. And then lastly, it's your vision, it's your mission statement, it's your relationship with the whole world. What do I do? What I do every day? What about you? And what about the world? This relationship. And when you get all these four pillars together, you have a very strong brand. And I guess talking about all these pillars of branding, for sure, right now you're thinking, where am I right now? What is my branding doing? And how people think about me? So I want to touch in this point right now. So if you want to think about what's your response, what is your brand response right now, I recommend you to do perform a strategic search, and really look yourself up, really Google yourself as well. Try different keywords, your name and the company you work, or your name, your school, your name, your city. Like really try different combinations. And I put YouTube as the first, suggestion for this strategic search. You might think first, let me just Google myself, but really try YouTube database, because as I always remember about that once one of my friends came to me and said that he didn't know that I was a big fan of a certain band. And I was like, how do you know that? And then he told me that he could see my YouTube like somehow. I had no idea he could see that. And it was really surprising to know that this information was out there. He could see the band I was liking, things that I was following in YouTube. So I had no idea. So it was good to know what YouTube knows about me and know how other people get to know me with the things I share or like in YouTube. So when you think about where you are right now, Google yourself, but also try to search a few keywords about you on YouTube. And another suggestion that I have is LinkedIn. Try to search your name or your school with the name of a school or the name of even your role to see what comes up. And try as well Twitter. You can be surprised with things that come up. Maybe people comment about work in your company for you and you're just not aware of. And lastly, really search how people feel about yourself. So ask your friends, ask your colleagues. You can simply ask, how would you define myself in 3 words? Or how am I putting myself here? Like, how do you see myself at the workplace? And if you don't trust it, like you don't think it's a good idea asking your colleagues, really can ask your family members as well. It is a good thing to know when you're thinking about building a brand. And lastly, ask yourself, do people have a clear understanding of what I do? Do others understand the values they carry? And lastly, what words or concepts people associate with my name? These are really important questions. You might be even surprised with the answers. So let's start working. And hold on, right now, I really want to highlight that there is a checklist that you should really think about it before building your branding. And it is important that you know yourself, you understand who you are and what you want to be. And it's not really valid to work on your brand once you don't have this figured out. And most people take some time to figure this out, but it's okay, because once you know what you want, it's really good to work on your brand and like it makes sense. Second thing, understand your purpose. Think why you're putting content together, why you're working on brand. And lastly, think about the words and concepts that will be associated with the things you say. And with that, we can start working our brand. So step number 1 is really create. How do I do that? So really think about creating a unique and relevant content, and try to share in 1 to 2 social medias. Also, if you can, try to not do the same post twice. If you're sharing something Twitter and then on LinkedIn, try to change a bit. And this would be more in a digital environment. But if you're thinking in-person relationships, that it sounds so distant right now. But if you think about a work environment, a physical work environment, aim to create unique contributions, really ask questions in meetings. This is really the way to you to show yourself and you are creating content, even when you're just asking questions. And this is a very important point about creating content, is that you just need to do it. Really communicate, try to not overthink too much, and always remember that practice makes perfect. And do or don't do it, there is no try. You really need to do it, and that's the way you create content. I'm sure that by first, when you're really just starting, it can feel awkward, but the more you do it, I promise you, the more confident you're gonna be. And then we're gonna go for step number 2, connect. So really connect with everyone relevant in your space. Connect with people, follow people, and try to engage as much as you can. Comment, reshare, like, mention other people, and also support other people. Supporting others is an amazing way to connect. And work in more of a physical environment, a real environment. Think about network beyond your immediate team. Don't think just about your team, and think about the whole environment that you are at. And step number 3, diversity. So try to make your content a bit different. If you are sharing in more than one social media, So if you can, share relevant content and try to be different maybe in the length of the post. As I said, Twitter, you need to be very quick and cannot write a lot of words. So that's one limitation, Twitter. And LinkedIn, you can write so much. And Medium, you can write a whole article. So think about sometimes doing the same post for 2 different social medias and think about diversity of your posting. And like, it's good that you change a bit. You might be reaching out to different people when you do that. I really recommend sharing images. I feel that images really can tell a story, and that's another way of you standing out. And lastly, it's likely that others have said the same things you're saying, but you are going to say in your unique way. So this is an example of what I'm saying. If you can see in the 2 posts, Gabe is saying the same thing, and the posts look so different just because one has an image attached and the second one doesn't. I'm more of a visual person, so when I see a picture, it says more to me, while there are people who like more concise things. So not putting the image, it is really what gets there. So really try to have a diversity in your posts as well. And step number 4, consistency. So really think about yourself and try to find a style. So as I said, images really get me. Like if I'm scrolling, I see an image, I stop and read. So that's something that it's, I guess, it catches my eye. So when I post, that's my style. I usually put an image there. So try to find your style and think about also how you meet people, how you present yourself, and think about how you want to explain something you know. And lastly, think about your audience and think that the audience, style, and message, they all should align. So another example here, you see these are 2 different profiles, and the first one is LinkedIn, the one on the left is LinkedIn, and the one on the right, it's Twitter. And you can see that this person has the same background photo, the same profile photo. So if you find this person on LinkedIn and then find it on Twitter, there is no doubt it's the same person. And that's very important as well when you create your brand. And then you can see even the title, everything is the same. So there is no doubt that this is the same person. That's a very important thing when you're creating a brand. You want to be consistent. And lastly, think about being relevant. And really, when I was talking about being on meetings and creating content, really ask relevant questions related to your expertise. So you're creating content that is relevant. And I really recommend as well you to join groups related to your goals. It's good to make connections in these kind of groups. And again, comment, reshare, like content, and try to do this all related to your field. It's a great way to start networking, also be noticed in your niche, in your group. And I know being relevant is very important, but I don't want anyone here to be overthinking when they're trying to create content, ask questions. You are not giving a TED talk, really, just do it. And I feel that something about brand as well is that if you think too much, it's not going to be natural. So really just do it. Think about being relevant, but don't overthink too much. And why don't we give it a try? So here you go. You already know who you are, what you want to be, what are the values you want that people see on you. So let's try to create a content. Firstly, outline something that you want to say and really think, what will I say? What do I want to share with others? And then secondly, think about what you want to say, but really think of how you engage other people. And then you really think about supporting others. So when you are commenting or when you're asking a question, really mention other people or comment about something else in a digital environment. Try to tag people, try to maybe use a hashtag. This is really a way of supporting others, and as well it shows your expertise and how you connect to the whole environment or to the whole field, I guess. And I really recommend it. Drafting, it's a good way to you avoid any mistakes, I guess. Really, when you start creating a brand, you're really trying to work on your brand. Drafting is very important. So really write, read, think, and then read again. And this is a gift that one of my mentors shared with me, and it really stuck with me. So as you can see, the man in the video, he's fit, he's ready for a run. He's going, it seems even like he's in his final lap. So he had everything figured out. He was ready. He probably trained for many months. He has the expertise, but probably something was off that day. Maybe he didn't drink much water or he didn't have a great sleep. Something was missing. All his effort just went out. He did not get a chance to finish the competition. So that's why I say that drafts are important. Is really a way to you to read it, think, and you can really work towards your goal instead of sabotaging yourself. So as my final thoughts, I know I talked a lot already. So as my final thoughts for today, I really want you to understand that your personal brand, it is a way of you telling a story, and telling a story without the effort of having an elevator pitch ready and really just keep on talking about yourself. Your personal brand works for you 24 hours and you don't need to repeat yourself. It's there. People know. It's public information. And my second point is think that your audience is in your side. So if you are ready to have a strong LinkedIn and really work on your personal brand on LinkedIn, think that your LinkedIn is your network. So people who worked with you, people who studied with you, people who want to be connected with you. So the audience is in your side. These people know you, and they all interested in knowing more about you. And think as well that no one is perfect, that you are going to make mistakes. Hopefully not like the video we just saw, and you can make a small mistake because you know that you need to read and have drafts. But think no one's perfect. Really share yourself with others and don't be afraid of sharing anything. And this is a very important point about this talk, is that if you don't define your personal brand, others will. I mean that if you don't talk about yourself, other people will talk about yourself, and then you are going to grant other people to talk about your values. And I really rather you talking about yourself and you showing your values, you showing where you want to be and what you want to be in the future. And really think about those quotes that we started the presentation with, and think that your personal brand can be the way of helping you reaching your goals. It can be a lot of work, or maybe you can just work here and there and just have your personal brand working for you. But really try to see your personal brand is something that can help you to reach all the goals that you have. And with that, I want to finish my presentation, say thank you. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's my Twitter there. And I'm more than glad to have you all connected with me on LinkedIn. And that's all that I have today. I'm going to send it back to you, Ilyes.
Great. So here in Greece, we say that repetition is a mother of learning. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to attend your talk for the second time. And also now I did recorded it, and tomorrow it will be.
Awesome.
And we have some questions for you. First one from Devak Singh. The interaction with different people do affect brand, but it will be kind of hard to do that. Yes?
Yes, but as well, it is a way of you having a diverse audience. So really think that you never know what your next project is or who is the next person who will reach out to you for help. So really reaching out for many people, it can help you to have, I guess, different connections. And I really believe as well in diversity. So we know each other, you and I, for, I guess, we didn't know we would know each other maybe 4 months ago. So really trying something new and reach out for different people, it can open doors that you're not even aware of.
Okay. Second question from Kate Gaggi. Do you recommend creating separate accounts for personal branding and personal life? And do you recommend using a VPN service whenever we go online? Cybersecurity question.
So for the first question, I feel like if you wanna brand a third, like a consulting service, or you just as your brand, maybe you are a cybersecurity consultant, or you wanna offer services in Google Cloud, I do recommend you open a second account. A second account is a good way to you really work on your brand. You know all the time when you're logged in the account that you work on your brand, you work on your professional development. But if not, I recommend you have one account, always using the same name. If you're on Twitter and LinkedIn, try to use similar things so that people can be aware that it's the same person they're talking to. And I feel that LinkedIn is more, I guess, less formal. So if you wanna, I guess, show more your values or show more your passions and be more casual, I guess, I recommend you keeping a Twitter account. It's also a great way to connect with other people and not only talk about work. And about VPN, I feel that it really depends on what you're working with, as well what you do on your computer. So if you want to be safe, VPN is valid, but as well just an antivirus, it's very important. Antivirus are underrated, but they shouldn't. They really help.
Okay, another question from Michalis Javiaras. Do you think it's a good idea to write keywords about your personality in the title of LinkedIn?
Yes, it is. It is because when recruiters or even just hiring managers, they're looking for specific knowledge, that keyword is going to show up and you're going to go up in the search. And I should have talked about keywords as well, but they're very important. Even in the things you write about it, for example, if you write on Medium and then your article is about cybersecurity, so once you publish, whenever you search it, and then maybe someone searches cybersecurity professionals, your Medium can come up. So keywords are very important, and as well in resumes. So when you're applying for a job, you really need to pay attention to the job post, because the keywords they're looking for, if they don't show up in your resume, sometimes if they don't show up 2 times in your resume, it cannot even just be 1 time. It needs to be more than 1. So they really have the artificial intelligence scanning your resume and searching for keywords. So it is very important that you use the keywords as well in your social media.
Okay. So next is Nick Manitsa Stefanakis. Oh, 2 questions. What do you define as a content? Projects, for example. Can you say some projects?
Yeah, I see most people talking about projects. I don't see many people talk about projects that they're working on at the moment. I see people talking about at the end of projects. And that's a good way to show your expertise, show how you contributed for the project. And I usually see people saying, I worked with these people. So really like tagging and mentioning and supporting other people. So yes, talking about a project is good. I usually see people talking about the end of projects. And it's a good way to build your brand.
True. Okay. And the last question, and then you can go to work. Okay. Do you think, again, it's from Nick Manitsas Fanakis, do you think making a static personal website is a good practice to promote your work as a freelancer or third-party associate?
Yes, it is. Okay. It's a way to help the search engines to find you, and really when people are looking for new people in the team, they Google you, they go on LinkedIn, and they try to find you anyone there. So having your personal website is a way to show your expertise, and as well helps you build your brand, and lastly helps all the keywords to be associated with your name.
Okay. And with that, we have finished. Awesome. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and it was an honor to have here today and talk. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. And again, anyone, feel free to message me and connect with me. And lastly, thank you so much for this opportunity. I was very excited to talk here today. Thank you, Ilyas.
Thank you, Nathalia. See you in about 1.5 hours for our next talk. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Our next guest is Roberta. Roberta, you have, okay, great, you found it. Perfect, yeah. Hey, Roberta is working in Brazil, Pelé, salsa and stuff like that. Amazing thing for us here in Greece, in Europe. Roberta, thank you for coming, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Elias. This was a pleasant invitation from you. And it's a pleasure to be here. So good evening to those of you in Europe. Good afternoon to those of you in Brazil, and good morning for those that are in United States and Canada. So it's a pleasure to be here. Let me share my screen. Let me know once you can see it.
Perfect.
All right. Oh. So today we will talk about the future work skills in order for us to get ready for what's next. Since we are in early December, and this is a time of, deep self-assessment, I thought that this would be a great opportunity for you to self-assess your current moment and go from there. So a little bit about me. I'm located in a tiny island in south of Brazil that is called Florianopolis. We have 42 beaches around here, and it's fabulous. I'm head of operations at Ubi Minds. We custom curate digital product teams. We do staff augmentation services. And I'm a GDG organizer at GDG Floripa and a Women Tech Maker ambassador. All right, so first things first. As you all know, the future will be a series of unimaginable changes, and it's getting harder and harder to predict which path it will take. Now, we have COVID. The world is getting flat because of it. This event here is thanks to the current moment, the challenging moment that we are facing. And we can now apply to job positions worldwide. Dreams doesn't have a fixed address anymore, and it's harder to have an idea of where we are heading as mankind, right? So the first question I wanted to ask yourselves, and then you can take notes, and on a scale from 1 to 10, you can self-assess yourself. And the first question is, are you connected to yourself? I think that we are now in an awakening from the meaning crisis. John Vervaeke, he's a teacher in University of Toronto. He has a series of episodes in YouTube. I strongly suggest you to watch these. And then he talks about the fact that we are awakening from the meaning crisis, altering the having mode and focusing more on the being mode. And it intersects with other crises that we are facing, economic, environment. So it all comes together. And this Minouche Shafiq, the director of London School of Economics, I love this quote. She stated that in the past, jobs were about muscles. Now they are about brains, but in the future, they will be about the heart. So as Nathalia was sharing, we have the ability now to empower people, and deeply caring about each other is at the bottom of it all. If we don't deeply care about each other, we will not strive as mankind. So this is why the future will be all about the heart. And then we have now the T and pie-shaped professionals, where you have your core competencies, where you study hard, for instance, in technology. You are a developer, and then you study about AWS services, or you study hard about React. And then you have your curious, your T part, where you're curious about music or about the environment. And that shapes the way that you present yourself as professional, right? And then Nathalia's talk pretty much aligned with what I'm sharing here, because it's really important to present your curious part, not only your studious part, right? So in one of my previous talks, the VP of business at Cheesecake Labs, one of the companies that I worked for in the past, he did his self-assessment, and then this is in Portuguese, so I do apologize for that, but I promise that I will translate that for you. So in his core competencies, he had technology and programming languages, right? And then on his curious side, he had science, business, music, psychology, design, and the last one is always tricky because I think that is nanotechnology or something like that. And then he did his self-assessment. So do you guys know what are your core competencies and the ones that you're curious about? And you have room to present that during job interview or during this new project that is coming up in the company that you work for, or maybe in your neighborhood. And you can use your skills to generate value to that given project or to stand out from the other candidates in a given job opportunity, right? And then, hello world. Your data is your brand, as Nathalia brilliantly shared. And then TikTok, for instance, is more than just silly dancing, right? You're building an audience there. And so the good news is that we will have credits for all. I strongly believe that we will be able to reshare that big pie and make it prosper through fair regulations, right? Because now the pie, a big chunk of the pie, is held or is being seized by few people, right? And I do believe that the future that we are heading will have credits for all. And then I bring here China's example, where they have the social credit, right? Your score can go up or down according to your behavior. So the rationale behind it is secret, but bad direction, buying too many games, or posting fake news are examples of behaviors that can negatively influence your score. And as a result, they might not allow you to sign your kid to a given school, or they can arrest your dog, take your dog away from you. So what if we can start using the social credit for real good, right? Where your good behavior, where once you share your knowledge, that will give you a discount in some of the local taxes that you need to pay. Are you connected to this moment? So mindfulness, I think that is the next no-brainer, like taking your meds and eat healthy and exercise, right? This is just more to provoke you guys to search for the true meaning of mindfulness, because to be mindful is to be more precise in detail in your focus of attention, and at the same time to have the capacity to expanding to a broader territory for insight. And I know that Jon Kabat-Zinn, he's one of the pioneers in mindfulness studies. He says that mindfulness is not judging yourself right here, right now, but what is right here? This room I'm sitting in, the fact that I'm sharing knowledge with you guys, my street, the country. What is it now? This second, the last 5 minutes, the next 2 minutes? So mindfulness has a deeper meaning than just being present in this moment without judging. So I think that it's all about renewing your focus of attention to yourself at the first time, and then to what you're sharing to the other people that are around you. And that has a direct impact in flow and its importance, right? I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with the flow, but the flow has a structure to it, right? You have a challenge and you have your skills, and then there is a fit between them. If your skills are too high and the challenge is small, you will get into boredom. But if your skills are low, and the challenge is too big, you'll be anxious, right? So it has a particular structure to it. And once you start using mindfulness in your favor, renewing your interest to the things that you are living in that moment, or you will be living in the next moment, you will get into a broader territory for insight. And that influences your flow mechanism. And in the flow, there is no room for your how am I doing? How is this day looking like? What are people thinking of me? None of this matters when you are in the flow. So for me, sharing knowledge with you guys now is my flow. What is your flow? So that's something for you to think about. Are you connected to others? And then the importance of multicultural smarts, where we now, since the world is flat, we should be paying real attention to reading people, contexts, and different kinds of intelligence. Manage the spectrum of knowledge from truth to opinion. And this is one of the most challenging things for us as mankind. And then finally, translate through subtle differences in cultures. Because right here, right now, I'm in Greece, but I live in Brazil, and how these subtle cultural differences translate in teamwork, in ownership, in communication, in documentation, and you name it. And the importance of building your tribe, where pop-up communities can arise from nowhere with a pretty specific goal, and then they can vanish from one day to another once that goal is achieved. And that the future will be by design, and we will be designing pretty much anything, because design will be more of a function instead of just a form. And then to give you guys an example, there is Stone Soup, that is a family of pop-up communities where they nurture families navigating the world. And this was pre-pandemic times, where they were planning to meet in Guatemala and have a series of workshops. And they had a host that welcomed the families, and they learned, and they deeply cared about each other. So I do believe that we need to have more of these communities around the world. Are machines your friends? Again, on a scale from 1 to 10. Befriend the machines, because AI will be everywhere, and the importance of digital fluency in order to navigate through these different kinds of layers with AIs and simulated actions and things that you will be experiencing online because of pandemic times and what will come next. Just an important parenthesis here. If you ask a machine to create thought or meaning for you, it still doesn't know, as of today at least, what that is. So this power of gathering different things, like a different set of ingredients to make a unique dish, or to take a look at someone that is waiting for a taxi and someone that has a car but is now unemployed and create Uber, this is not something that machines can do, only humans can do. So that power is still ours to use in our favor. And then third space learning is a platform that teaches math to young kids, and they are using AI since 2015 to identify patterns in learning and teaching in order to create positive outcomes for pupils. So the Tom Hopper is the founder of Third Space Learning, and he said AI will not be replacing tutors. In fact, it will help them to be better teachers. AI is being used to recognize possible gaps in learning and then boost the teacher's performance. Another project is Galaxy Zoo, that is an online astronomy project that invites its members to classify more than 1 million galaxies. And this one is a paradox because machines would take like 3 times more than humans gathered with the same goal to classify the galaxies. And here was the latest zoo statistics with 31% complete, with over 32,000 volunteers. And we sometimes continue thinking that machines will be replacing humans, and I think that the correct word would be collaboration. Are you able to deal with uncertainty? We need to move forward based on our current scenario. The safety net, or what we thought it was a net, is now broken. With that being said, shared assets and risks would take place for us as humans. And multi-currency networks will be the strange foreigner during our next decade, because we can become a millionaire from day to night due to multi-currency networks. Sorry. And then just as an example, we have tons of those, right? Personal loans. This is Lending Club in the United States, where they have personal loans. You can borrow or invest money. In the US, they don't have health. The health is not public health, so they need to pay for insurances and stuff like that. Lending Club helps Americans with loans to do exams or, surgeries and stuff like that. Do you seek meaning? I love this quote. This is a Native American proverb that says, "Tell me the facts and I'll learn. Tell me a truth and I'll believe. But tell me a story and it will live in my heart forever." So one of the most important skills is to use the power of stories in our favor, because stories and narratives, they can persuade us so deeply that they can contribute to a synchronization between presenter and listener. And it all starts with us. The stories we'll tell ourselves in front of the mirror every day. It starts there. So we need to rethink the way that we are telling the stories to us, and then it will propagate to all the rest, right? And it's important, we are familiar with the big data term right now. We have big stories, and we need to be able to read across different contexts and different cultures and understand the big stories behind it. And then futurism will not be available only in academic spaces or in think tanks. It will be available to all of us. I do believe that in the future, futurism will be taught to young kids, like my little Nina that has 3 years old. Science fiction is something that it's so, at least for me, I'm a Star Wars fan, it's so fantastic. And it gives you the idea, the vehicle to think about a multitude of possibilities. And we explore that very little when it comes to our professional world. I have an article where I share that science fiction has an importance when we are writing strategic narratives or stories about us, right? So that's a tool that I think that we should be using more in our favor. And then future thinkers, it's one of the most incredible things that I came across in the last year. Their mission is to help people wake up, evolve, and adapt to this changing world. And they have a series of podcasts and content, and I leave this as a reference for you guys. And then one important thing to highlight is that we have, our brains have an incremental thinking way. We tend to think narratively and incrementally about the future, that the future will be a series of steps, one after the other. But the world has exponential opportunities for us all. So this is why, as incredible as our ideas may be, it is critical for us to communicate in an impactful way, especially when the idea seems uncertain, because we as humans are filled with biases, right? And we also have this opportunity to understand our biases in order to embrace what sometimes seems uncertain, or sometimes we think that A plus B will be C every time. And sometimes it can be a D. And the importance to strengthen our mindset, because if you want to teach someone to be a great hockey player, you don't teach them the slap shot. You teach them how to think that they are a great hockey player, because they will make that slap shot happen. This quote is by Seth Godin. He's former CEO of Udine, one of the first digital marketing platforms in the world, and later it was bought by Yahoo. And then differences between the exponential and incremental thinking, where the incremental, don't get me wrong, it is what is ensuring that we are here as of today going through this session, right? It is what ensures that daily things happen, but we do have the opportunities every now and then to embrace exponential opportunities that are being presented to us, right? So the incremental thinking focus on setting realistic goals, follow the plan, minimize risks, standardize, centralize decision-making, expanding authority, and just do your work. The exponential thinking sets ambitious goals, follows the vision, maximize learning, personalize, empower decision-making, explain, influence, and grow your network, as Nathalia was sharing. The incremental mind focuses on doing something better, while the exponential focuses on doing something different. Envision the future that you want. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. So, Roberta, I loved especially the last part. For me, I don't know if I want to do something better or something different. But first, I have to go to questions. We have 5 questions until now, and all of them are from Muhammad Ali. So, first question, how to work on enhancing emotional intelligence?
Sorry, can you repeat?
How to work on enhancing emotional intelligence.
All right. So I think that the self-knowledge is pretty important, where you have to understand how your mind works, how you learn, and how you interact with people, if you are a extrovert or introvert. So I think that seeking for self-knowledge is the ground that you need to establish in order to start building your emotional intelligence. Does that answer your question, Mohammed? Hopefully it does, or at least a little bit.
We have time, and yes, it's the best answer, he says. So continue to his second question, how to drive business values while doing empathy-based business. How to drive business values while doing empathy-based business.
Not sure I get this one, sorry.
I will send it as a message.
Third, I'm looking here, going through. Second, how to drive business values while
I wrote it on the chat.
Yeah, great. How to drive business value. I think that it all can, when you're doing empathy-based business, you will, either way you have goals, right? And from those goals, what would you like to measure in order to achieve it, right? So I think that, for instance, just to give an example, empathy-based, you want to make it available features that are really aligned with your value proposition. Then how you're going to, you want to implement one feature, how you're going to measure if that one feature was successfully implemented based on your empathy-based model. Then I think that you can interview the personas that are being benefit by that given feature. So it all translates to objectives and then key results. And I would say that the OKR methodology would be a good way to measure. Does that answer your question, Muhammad? Hopefully. All right.
Third question, do you think that viewing, I've put it on the chat if you want to read it by yourself.
Do you think that viewing the other side of the coin, the social credit, is harmful for the personal privacy? Like someone watching your actions all the time. I don't think that we should monitor all the actions, all of your actions, at least the ones that have a positive impact on society, or at least in your neighborhood, or in the industry where you work at. I think that those are the ones that we should be monitoring. Things that we share with our community, you know, not all of them, but I think that there is room there for, through regulations, to vote on things that would have a positive impact on society, and how can we measure them. Does that make sense, Mohammed? I think it was his question again.
Yes, of course. We are still with Mohammed.
All right.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Fourth, right? How to increase focus while living in a social media and digital area where the attention span of less than goldfish. Time management. I think that is a topic of deeper understanding, because you can have online and offline moments, right? So you can determine, settle yourself to have offline moments, and then during those offline moments, increasing your focus on things that you consider that require your attention. Because it's hard, right? If you are offline all the time, you'll be missing a lot of things. But at the same time, if you are too online, how much time does the time have left? This is one of the documentaries that I latest watched that talks about the time, and this this scenario that we are currently living in, where we need to be using always the time to be learning something new, to be focusing our attention on social media. So it questions that we need, I think, to have balance for everything. Hopefully I answered that one.
Fifth one is on the chat.
Is it possible to use incremental thinking to get exponential results? You need to put some salsa, as Elias was saying in the beginning, I'd say. We need incremental thinking, you know, in order to get ready for a marathon. You need to practice running every day or weekly or whatever, depends on your schedule plan to run the marathon, right? But there is that spicy flavor that will help you get through the marathon, that is your focus, your will. So yes, it is possible, I would say, to have incremental thinking to get exponential results, but I think that it needs some salsa on the top. It needs your focus. It needs your, you need to want that so badly that you will lose your sleep because of it, in a good way.
Love this answer. Perfect.
Yeah, salsa. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we have one more question. This one is from Nick Manitsa Stefanakis, and it's the last one for today.
Can working on your emotional intelligence help you deal with clients that are hard to work with and are manipulative? Yeah, for sure. Because once you have, it's like a muscle that you can strengthen that up, right? So if you have that, straighten up, you will be able to take a step back and understand if it has something to do with you, and if it is in your power to do something about it, right? Stoicism, awakening from the meaning crisis, John Bevacchi, he brings back Marcus Aurelius' thoughts, and what can you actually control? Because it's only your thoughts that you can control. All the rest is out of control. This is why I made that question, are you able to deal with uncertainty because of it? the only thing that we know for sure, at least as of today, is that we are going to die. The rest is either in our head to manage or to cope and collaborate with others. So take a step back, deep breath. It won't last forever. Time management again. What is the endurance and the reach of this problem that you're facing? And then list all the potential impacts and make a decision. Hopefully I was able to answer.
Perfect. And then we have another last question for you from Mayur Yaktab. I'm sorry. I guess I spoke wrong. And you can see how we can help ourselves to manage the increasing. It's on the chat, the last one.
To manage the increase in confidence, and it's going up against our peers, and also the increase in demand. I think that, again, the exponential thinking, where you expand and grow your network, and when you start helping and collaborating, sharing knowledge, this is where, and if it is true, it has to be truthful, right? You cannot do that just to get points. It won't be true enough, and you'll fail. But it has to be something that is true, where you will be focusing on expanding and growing your network and positively impacting your network in order to get the results as a group. And once you have acts of leadership and you have that and you use that to impact others, I think that it's not about competitiveness, because we will have credits for all. It's about being a medium for a better future. Hopefully I answered that one, Mayur.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
And with this question, I want to thank you, Roberta, for being here and shared your knowledge with us. It was really a pleasure to have you as a speaker. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
All right. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Okay, now for our attendees, please don't leave, because we have our contest. Okay, so today's contest has to do with Harry Potter, because I have a marathon with my daughter. And this is the question. The first person that will answer it will win a 1 year free. No, it's not the theater. Yes, we have a winner. Correct. The mentors. Mayur. Oh, sorry. I need to learn how to say your name. But you have won. Please reach me on LinkedIn. And I will send you the voucher. This is my profile on LinkedIn. Mayur, please reach me there, and I will share Yaktab. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Mayur Yaktab. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Our next event is for the 15th of December. It is a cloud study jam. We are going to do introduction to AutoML, and it's going to be for image processing. So if you want to attend to gain $55 as credits on Quick Labs, you have to come and attend this 30 minutes to 1 hour cloud study jam season. And yes, thank you, Kate. And then we can talk again on the 15th of December. Have a nice evening or good morning, or I don't know. whatever. See you on our next event. Bye.
All the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying. And my dear, we're still goodbye. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.